Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that second video just to make you think. And one is going to be on words and one is going to be on the job reset. I'm going to let you listen to a couple clips from the Economic Forum. Actually, one was today and another one was 2 weeks ago. But guys, when we deal with words, we know words are power. They create your reality. The word mortgage means what? Death pledge. So that death pledge turned into what? The American dream. So guys, we have to wake out of this dream and come into reality. Now, when it comes to the reset, guys, we know the C word is going to bring in the fourth industrial revolution. So they're going to be training 70% of the workforce to work with these robots, algorithms, AI, and then eventually, if the people don't rise, you're going to become a new species of robot. But y'all have a wonderful day.
So what do I mean by the secret spells of the English language? Well, let me share with you what I call our premier life sentence. And it goes something like this. We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays to earn the living at various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. And this seems perfectly acceptable to most people. However, more people die between 6 and 9 on a Monday morning than any other time of the week. So I do what I call a translation of the English language, and I spell that Trance, with the idea that words cast spells. So when you translate that life sentence, you remember that awake is a funeral party for the dead. Mourning is the state you're in when you attend a wake. And you would have to be in a weekdays to earn the living, since urns are for the ashes of the dead. We call our jobs undertakings. Job itself is a Hebrew word for persecuted. And what we get at the end of this perverse bargain with life is the weak end of the deal as we become progressively weakened ourselves. And so our most prevalent greeting to each other is hello, the reverse of which is, oh, hell. And at first, I suspected the hands of collusion entangling the language to foster illusion.
Much, Sadia. I have three major takeaways. First, the World Economic Forum is now very much engaged into this initiative of shaping a great reset for the post-corona era. And of course, the objective of this reset is to make the world more resilient, more sustainable, and also more fair and more inclusive. Now, in order to make the world more fair and inclusive, I think the key word is jobs. And here I have learned during the summit many aspects of how we should approach, let's say, the creation of skills for tomorrow and so on. But the second for me, major element was we need to address this issue, not just in terms of what policies, what we need, but also in terms of changing our mindset. And here, what is at the forefront is to create a new model, a new concept, a new definition of capitalism. Capitalism in the old definition comprises only financial capital, but actually human and social capital is as, and of course, natural capital is as important as financial capital. And for me, this means to enhance even our steps, our important steps we are undertaking to have business leaders accepting to report on the ESGs. But one of the highlights for me was the launch of the dashboard for a new economy, because it means that governments should also be measured and judged not only in terms of GDP growth, but on the basis of the 4 Ps, prosperity, people, planet, and principles for good governance. And finally, in all the sessions, that's my third conclusion, practically in every session, it was evident how much public-private cooperation is needed. So all those issues cannot be solved by governments, business, or civil society alone. We need collaborative efforts. And I'm very happy that we have 4 global shapers, because it's your world which we are discussing here. And to integrate you into this great reset initiative is absolutely essential.
At looking into the crystal ball and knowing what is happening in the future. How do you think the recovery will look, and how can we secure that the recovery also will create jobs? Ray, good morning.
As far as looking into the crystal ball goes, there's a saying that in the market is always think about. He who lives by the crystal ball is destined to eat ground glass. So I'm not sure that my outlook will be very insightful. But the way I look at the situation is there are 3 major forces that are at work and have been germinating for a long time that have now reached a point that is a critical point, very similar to the 1930 to 45 period. And they will be with us for a number of years. And then the virus and its economic effects came along as a stress test. But let me just touch on those. The first is what is going on with money and credit. There's a long-term debt cycle, and there's so far that central banks can push interest rates down. And when they hit 0%, then they have to print money. And so what we're seeing now, and have seen for quite a while, is the creation of a lot of debt, particularly by central governments, that is being monetized by the central banks to get the money to those who need it. And that has an implication for the value of money. It has an implication for the dollar, particularly, and it has to be looked at around the world. Who gets what money and credit is important, which countries, which people. So that's the first. The second is the gap in wealth, the gap in job opportunities, which is producing the political gap that is causing a left-right conflict and an ideological conflict that is being manifest all over the world, a lot of conflict. And that's particularly true in the United States and is reflected in the presidential election. That has big implications for how that money will flow. So jobs, it'll have big implications for jobs. It'll have big implications for markets, tax policies, and the like. And the third big force is the rising of a great power to challenge an existing great power. Since 1945, we've been in a US-dominated monetary and world order. But with the rise of China to compete with the United States in important ways, there are 5 important ways that they're competing. There is a trade war, as we call it, a technology war, a geopolitical war, a bit of a capital war. And then there is also in the background, and we hope doesn't happen, but there are issues pertaining to a military war. So the interaction of those 3 things, like in the 1930s, I think will be the driving force. You layer over that technology and how technology is competing with humans. The uniqueness of a human is being diminished because of our technological developments. And that also will affect jobs. So I think that when you then have the stress test come along and you have a decrease in incomes and look at the financial situation, that is what we're seeing here today. So how those will be handled, I think, will be the driving influence of jobs, whether we have a cohesive, harmonious world or whether we have a world of great conflict.